Are you guys into science?
A little bit.
A little.
Do you guys think that science is very important?
We're entertainers, so
I mean, it wasn't my favorite subject in high school. You know, I kind of always had to cheat on my chemistry and my.
Of course you did.
I think science is important and truth is important. Absolutely.
Truth above all else. But I will
Truth.
say this about science.
Yes.
It's getting tough for science in the Trump era, and
Uh-oh.
that brings us to our
Big deal!
All right, so Senor Donaldo Trump. I'm gonna start pronouncing his name in Spanish, just as kind of
Maybe
like
he'll
a
tweet
statement.
about it. Maybe he'll tweet about it.
As a statement. He's been pretty busy his first couple weeks as president. One of the things that he's been doing is he's been clamping down on the EPA, basically neutered.
What is the EPA for the people who don't know?
Environmental Protection Agency.
Okay.
It's a government agency that goes in and says to a business that, hey, you can't put your factory next to our water supply and let all your chemicals run into our water supply.
They save the earth pretty much.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they save us also from the health risks of pollution and things like that. So he's basically gotten the EPA out of the way of big business, and he's taken climate change or any reference to climate change off the White House website.
Okay.
He's appointed a lot of anti-regulation people, not just to his cabinet, but on all the other agencies that he's working on. And now scientists are going to form a march. We had the Women's March. We had, all kinds of marches.
Right.
Now we're going to have a scientist march.
This is a very important issue because he is blocking key information. He's talking about truth, truth in science. There are studies that document climate change is a real thing. And I think by not respecting that, it creates a really poor dialogue for the United States in terms of our relationship with other countries and other people. And I don't think it's healthy to reject facts.
Absolutely.
Well, what is it that they call them over there at the White House?
the alternate
Alternate
facts.
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 Or the fake news.
Alternate fact. It's just he makes something up when he lies. I mean, it's.
Yeah, it's like the alternate T-shirts that we have. To him, I think that there's obviously a lot of transparent moves, especially when it comes to Republicans. And Trump is not necessarily a classical Republican, but he's a big business guy.
Right.
And he doesn't want any big business to have to halt because the land that they're going to put their factory in has some endangered species of bumblefly and all this stuff. But he's also tied to big oil, and his appointment for Secretary of State is a very transparent move. He put an oil man as our Secretary of State, Tillerson,
Rex
ExxonMobil. And oil men and the oil money is what funds a lot of this climate change is a hoax kind of fake scientific
really?
studies that are coming out.
Because all the fossil
the
fuel
same way
companies.
the food industry, like the big ones in the food industry, are the ones that fund the studies that show that it's not so bad for you. So.
Like sugar's healthy.
Yes.
I mean, there's always, there's always a good and bad to everything. You know what I'm saying? Like they say
but-
alcohol is bad for you, but sometimes there's studies
The
that say
thing
that
is,
it's good for
science
you.
is the one thing we can hold on to as an objective truth.
Yeah, right.
And it's something that it's like sustained under some real facts or objective facts. And now with this, it's like, now we don't know what to believe or who to believe and what not to believe, who not to believe.
Well,
So
here-
that's,
I'm
getting
that's a
confused.
problem
Let me
right
play
now.
advocate. I'm going to play devil's advocate so that you understand maybe where they're coming from. Obviously, one thing is the oil money that is really teamed up mainly with the Republicans, and that's why they don't believe in climate
But I
change.
find that so crazy, though, because he didn't want lobbyists as part of his campaign when he was running for president.
Oh, do you believe everything that Trump says?
Well, that's true.
Okay.
Sorry.
But I think I mean, a business person, I understand them saying we don't want the EPA or environmentalists to be too overbearing and get in the way of every business, but there has to be, now when you said about objective truth, their argument is, well, now scientists are becoming politicized, so can we believe what scientists are saying when they're picking a side and they're making it political?
That's becoming a problem, and people were saying also in the Washington March, how many scientists of these people that are going to march are liberals? So it's like, what's happening? No, it was a big deal.
Is there going to be a march in March?
Yeah. I don't know. Wait, you know what? Andres is in my ear because he's getting into this conversation. He's talking about the data isn't biased. I totally agree with him. But then he says reality has a liberal bias, and I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But when it comes to science, yes. But when it comes to science, yes. When it comes, I do not understand. Like, look, I understand certain conservative ideals, like individual liberty, and I can understand wanting to have our business, be good, or businesses or the economy good. That's fine. But even if you don't believe that global warming is happening as fast as it can, why aren't you against pollution? Why do you see the stuff coming out of a bus exhaust and the stuff coming out of those pillars in the
How is
factories and
that
say,
bad for the
that's
earth?
really good. Yeah, we should be breathing
This is
that.
also a man that bronzes himself on a daily or weekly basis and looks like a freaking orange. I mean, Yeah.
Like
Does he
native-
do it with spray tanning or does he do it in one of those machines?
This is a whole nother.
Yeah,
That's a
I mean,
whole other
let's save
video.
that
he
for
could be
another
putting his life at risk.
But like
Maybe he's
Native
not.
Americans
he doesn't
say,
care.
up until the last tree is cut and the last drop of water is gone, then we will see that we cannot survive on money.
But when is that gonna happen,
And-
though?
That's
Maybe
a
it's gonna
great way
happen-
to put it. We can't survive on money once our environment is all messed up.
But is that gonna happen
we
like?
cannot. We cannot drink money. We cannot drink oil. I mean, it's coming. 'cause-
But within
yeah.
our
But you
lifespan,
can smoke hashish
No.
oil. I will say.
that's maybe why he doesn't care because
What
it's
is
not
the
gonna
clock?
happen.
What's
Right,
the name of
and
the
that's the
clock that now
problem.
it's 30 seconds?
Oh, the doomsday clock. But
The
that's more about
doomsday
nuclear war.
clock.
That's more about nuclear war.
And I think a lot of these Republican politicians are working for now, and they're not. No one in the Republican,
Right.
Senate and House of Representatives, they're not thinking about our future. And we may not be around, but there's going to be generations and generations of people who need to enjoy.
And
our
forget
Earth.
about that. We might reincarnate and live those times in the future. Who knows?
All right, folks, think
Hey,
about
another
it.
problem.
last thing I want to say. I want Donald Trump and his anti-EPA people to go to my hometown of South Beach during a full moon when the flood, even though there's no rain, floods half of Miami Beach, which didn't happen 10 years ago. The seas are rising,
Yeah.
and we need to stop it.